bulletin is live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144, also live on Facebook and my JoyNews on TV. To our first story, JoyNews investigations have revealed that the country's biggest indigenous cocoa buying company, PBC's market share, has seen a steep decline from 30.88% to 8% over the last 5 years. In January last year, the management of the company hinted of downsizing its staff because it was unable to meet financial and operational obligations to its workers. In August 2022, management issued a memo. It was unable to pay salaries to workers. It's now a tale of huge doubts, falling revenue, tons of cocoa beans stuck in the farms, and produce clerks engaged in double trading to survive. Now, there's more in the following report by the investigative desk.
In 2021, a whistleblower and senior staff of the produce buying company Frederick Akon petitioned the presidency over the possible bankruptcy of the state-owned venture. He raised alarm about the downward trend of PBC's market shares. In his petition to the president, he made a prediction about the market share of the company. He stated that if PBC's market share should hit a single digit, it will spell doom for the state-owned company.
Exception of our new management, I realized our fortunes per market share were falling, and as I indicated earlier, and it affected our remunerations. You know something? For the past 6 years, we have never had even 1% salary increment, and you can imagine the hardships we are all finding ourselves through in Ghana now. Even 1%, we have, because yes, it's true. The financial difficulties and challenges we are facing, and it's all because we are not able to buy in volumes. That is why I wanted to inform the presidency. I wanted to inform the appropriate bodies to have a second look how best they can help PBC to stand on its feet to buy in volumes.
As it stands now, with the way PBC's market share is dropping, we are in the 2022-2023 cocoa season. With the way the trend is going, what do you think PBC's market share is likely to be in this season?
I'm not a prophet of doom, but we all have to be honest and be truthful to ourselves. As I predicted 2 years ago, that if things are not changed as we have been doing things, we will be buying a single digit. And if we buy a single digit, it means we are not going to be able to pay ourselves and sustain the business. Everybody will be going home.
Mr. Akron blamed management for the predicament of PBC and urged a change in business strategy to protect the livelihood of over 900 staff and 15,000 commission-based clerks. Mr. Akron, after blowing the whistle, was suspended, demoted, and eventually sacked for drawing the attention of the presidency to save the company and enable it buy in huge volumes of cocoa.
Invited by PBC executive management, they intimidated me. Now, why should I write to the presidency to tell the president? Or should I write to the presidency? Then I explained myself to them. Then I explained myself to them and I left. Then I was interdicted. But after I met executive management and I explained myself to them, you know one thing that surprised me? There was not a single question from the executive management as to solutions I have for the PBC, because I wrote a letter to the presidency explaining our down fortunes of PBC.
There will be an interruption of power supply beginning April 1. This is due to an intended shutdown of the Atuabo processing plant by the Ghana Gas Company Limited for thorough maintenance works. Now, the shutdown, JoyNews is learning, will affect gas supply to some power plants. The Energy Ministry, in a statement, earlier urged the Electricity Company of Ghana to publish a load-shedding program for the outages. Director of Communications at Ghana Gas, Ernest Owusu-Bempah, says the maintenance is necessary for maximum performance of the plant.
The engineers thought it wise that we need to do some major maintenance routine, and hence the shutdown. And one of the key ingredients that has contributed to the reduction of doomsaw and all those recklessness going on is because of the fact that we have a good maintenance culture, and that has helped us in terms of maintaining the gas processing plant. They're looking at the whole gas processing plant, from where we extract the raw gas from to where we transfer the gas for power generation, LPG, condensate, and the rest. So the whole gas processing plant is like a machine. It's like a car going to the mechanic for servicing. I think it's starting from April. We have what we call a tie-in. Ghana Gas Processing Plant is supplying almost about 110 SCF. Sankofa is also supplying. So the combination is giving us about 350 million SCF. So if Ghana Gas stops, the rest of the other is shut down. The rest of the other gas fields will be flowing gas and pushing it to Abuazi processing plant, Abuazi for thermal generation. So obviously, we're going to be having gas. And then WAPCO has also assured us that they will also be pushing gas to the eastern enclaves as well. So a combination of that with a little bit of support of heavy fuel to also power some of our thermal plants, I think that is going to be, we're good to go.
And indeed, the Electricity Company of Ghana has released a load-shedding plan. You can find that on myjoyonline.com. Moving on, there is looming danger in Takwa as local miners ignore warnings to use an old shaft located within Goldfields Ghana's active mining zone for community mining. Now, already similar shafts have taken over the Akun community, sinking people's homes due to blasting in the underground mines beneath the town. Some local leaders are also disputing community ownership of the small-scale mining schemes. Lava Firm's Erastus Asaredonko visited some of these sites and has come through with this report.
Takwa, an old mining town, is dotted with age-old underground shafts. Two of them, the Fanti Mines, an old deep shaft mine on the hilly outskirts of the town, and the Akun Mines, have been taken over and converted into government-sanctioned community mining schemes. A third shaft, the Apinto Mines, sitting on Goldfields Company's land close to Asaman Kakraba, is considered illegal. It is operated by a chief at Takwa. In 2022, a Takwa High Court placed an injunction on their operations there, but the order was ignored. Currently, there are attempts to take over the old Mantram shaft at Brahababume, which sits in Goldfields Ghana's active mining zone. Despite the company's warning against the move, these individuals and their Chinese collaborators are preparing to turn it into a community mining scheme with government support. So where I'm standing now is between the Pepe pit and the Tibribi pit, all belonging to the Goldfields Company Limited. Now, the Tibribi pit is the deepest of their pits and is about 100 to 150 meters close to their Mantram shaft. Now, this is the danger, the possibility that their main activities as an active mine will conflict with that of the community, proposed community mining. When they blast, you get flying stones everywhere, and it is possible that the impact itself could endanger the lives of anybody who is using the Mantram shaft as a community mining. And that threat is what many sources within the company are trying to prevent. All these places bear the tagline community mining, but on the ground, the real ownership and the community share is not clear. A clear example is the Akun community mining inaugurated by the Lands Ministry. While the government says the scheme belongs to the community, Unit Committee Chairman Frank Boham and his executives deny this.
The
community has decided to go on demonstration because he claims the activity is Akun community mining. But none of our leaders have a stake in it. We don't have any representation on it.
It doesn't belong to Akon. Nobody can claim that it belongs to Akon. Go there and see. You have the leaders of the MPP being in charge of the community mining. Do you call that? It's political mining. It's not community mining.
They show me deep cracks in individual homes as a result of blasting from the Akon community mining scheme. When they blast, it shakes the building. That is what is cracking this building. You see the line of the crack from here to that end. I don't know how to fix this because even if I fix it, they are still mining and blasting.
Old man in
We've been here since the old mining times, but things were not like this. But it is when they started the community mining, long blasting, that our buildings started experiencing these cracks. All of us in this area are affected. If you look at my building, my tiles are cracked, the walls are affected. It is serious. We pray the building doesn't collapse on us. Request for responses from the MCE for Takwa did not receive any response. Meanwhile, there are signs of an intended inauguration of more of these community mining schemes in areas designated dangerous by Goldfields Ghana Limited. Sources at the Goldfields say any attempt to use the Mantram shaft for a similar community scheme will result in a tragedy. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Takwa, Western Region.
Well, there's more on that story we'll be returning to, but let's go to Parliament now, where it's expected to go on Easter break today, but 3 outstanding tax measures are still yet to get approval. The tax bills together could contribute to up to 4 billion cedis to the national kitty, without which government has said it may not get an IMF bailout. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Santi reports.
Another day in Parliament and barely 24 hours for Parliament to go on Easter break as per its tentative schedule. Parliament has still not approved the 3 controversial tax measures that came with the 2023 budget. Those 3 tax bills have been on the order paper for some time now and has still not been approved. The income tax amendment, the excise duty amendment, and the growth and sustainability amendment bills have all been staying in Parliament for some considerable time, and at the end of this quarter, the first quarter of the new year, government is still yet to get the needed revenue, as it says. The President, the Finance Minister, the Information Minister, and other key government functionaries have all said that these are prior actions that government will need to get through before it can get the IMF loan. These 3 measures, and to start with, the income tax amendment bill is expected to rake in 1.2 billion cedis annually. It is expected to amend the income tax laws of Ghana. It will exempt minimum wage earners and would alter foreign exchange losses treatment in financial statements. The other one, having to do with the excise duty amendment bill, is expected to rake in about 400 million Ghana cedis annually, and will achieve this by imposing 20% tax on e-smoking and fruit juices in this country. And finally, the Growth and Sustainability Amendment Bill is expected to rake in 2.2 billion Ghana cedis
annually and will replace the current National Fiscal Stabilization Levy. With barely 24 hours for Parliament to go on break, that is if they adhere to the timeline they set for themselves, government is still yet to get through this. And today, quite surprisingly, some protesters were here in Parliament asking MPs to pass this bill into law.
We are losing a lot of lives in this country, especially the youth. So we are here for them to pass that law for us so that the youth will be saved. Because most of the youth are dying for cancer, like 17 years, 18 years. They are losing their life of this smoking habits and other things. That electronic shisha pipeline, these things are air koswa. Boss, me no again say, and kofu air shromonkwa air nyayare air my room. So we are praying, say, that so that they can pass that law for us. That's what we are here.
The statistics from Ghana Health Service is saying that most of these youth are using these devices, the e-smoking devices, shisha and the rest. The bill that is before Parliament seeks to impose more taxes on these products so that they can be able to pass into law and help us come out and protect the youth. For instance, if you look at the e-smoking devices that are rampant these days.
And so we move back to our story where the mining communities where there have been buildings destroyed by blastings underneath the ground. We have on the line Abdul Ganiyu Mohammed, who is coordinator of the NADMO in the Western region, on the phone with us right now. Mr. Ganiyu, if you can hear me, welcome to the show. We want to know from you if you're aware of these blastings in the Akun community in the Western region.
Thank you, Maame, and then my greetings to your cherished viewers and listeners. In fact, we are somewhere aware of the happening of the mining, ongoing mining at the Akon community. But through your medium, we got to know the happening of the blasting which has affected many of the persons in that community.
Mr. Ganiyu, so what steps is NADMO taking to avert a disaster from happening?
Yes, what we have done so far is that we have asked the municipal director and his team to visit the community and find out the situation. Myself and my operations directors will move from the regional headquarters on Monday to go into the community and find out exactly what is happening and the kind of help that government can help the community so that we sustain the community. The community has been a long-standing community in Takwa areas for years. So we need not to lose a life in that community. Whatever it will take us to work on it, we'll do that. And we are going to collaborate with the regional minister and the Environmental Protection Agency and the Minerals Commission to see how best we can protect the happening of the area, most especially those who are working within the pit, within the Akon community mining.
Right, but we can also go to the small-scale miners who are being blamed for the situation happening in Akun currently. Is there any collaboration with stakeholders to ensure that these practices are stopped?
Absolutely, because the pit has been an old pit which is standing within the community for years ago. So if something is not right there, then that is why we call the stakeholders like the Minerals Commission who will come in to assist to ensure that there will be safe mining within the pit so that at the end of the day, the pit, the youth will get what they are working for and the community will be safe for its living purposes.
We're grateful for your time. Mr. Abdul Ganiyu Mohammed is the NADMO coordinator in the Western region. Now, away from that, an Accra High Court has ruled that Minority Leader Dr. Cassiel Thompson has a case to answer on the allegation that he played a key role in procurement of defective ambulances. Now, the transaction has resulted in a loss of more than 2 million euros to the state. The Attorney General called 5 witnesses, including Health Minister Maame, to testify against Dr. Thompson. Lawyers for Dr. Thompson urged the court to acquit and discharge him since a case had not been made requiring him to respond. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable has more.
Together with former Chief Director at the Ministry of Health, Seth Animana, and businessman Richard Jakpa, the state is said to have lost more than 2 million euros because of the procurement of defective ambulances. The minority leader and other accused persons have always maintained their innocence.
The coincidence speaks volume about the motivation for these frivolous and baseless charges. In fact, I call it e-levy charges. A cursory reading of the frivolous and politically motivated charges shows that my only role in the entire transaction was to have signed a letter on behalf of the Minister of Finance.
The Attorney General disagrees. Through 5 witnesses, he insisted that the 3 accused persons have a case to answer. The case against the minority leader borders on 2 letters he authored. The main one had asked the Bank of Ghana to establish letters of credit for the ambulance supplier. The AG contends this was contrary to the terms of the contract, as payments should have been made only after pre-shipment inspection. Lawyers for Dr. Thompson, however, argue that issuance of letters of credit does not amount to payment. They also insist he wrote these letters in his capacity as Deputy Minister for the Finance Minister, tasked and authorized by the Finance Minister, Seth Tekpe. The court, presided over by Justice Ifia Saribotre, in its ruling, noted that every party in the case admits in one way or the other that the ambulances imported into the country were defective. On the question of whether Dr. Thompson was authorized to write the said letter, Justice Saribotre said lawyers for Dr. Thompson seem to have misapprehended the law. The court said once the AG stated that Dr. Thompson did not have such authority and Dr. Thompson replied that he had seen, the responsibility was on him to show that he had the said authority. Evidence before the court, he noted, shows that Seth Tekpe even told prosecutors he did not have much information when he gave his statement. All 3 accused persons have been ordered to open their defense. The case is back in court on April 13.
Now, after weeks of fierce educational contests, the 4th edition of Love FM Primary Schools Quiz has reached its semi-final stage. Now, the annual competition has seen primary school pupils in the Ashanti region display great intellect in general knowledge, science, math, Ghana Month, questions, and spelling bee. Love FM's Anabuachi Yadam reports schools are optimistic of victory ahead of the semi-final contest.
We have Hansi Gold Community School.
Fierce and impressive performance from all 36 schools that participated in the 4th edition of the Love FM Primary Schools. The preliminary stage pruned the number of 24 schools who battled it out for 9 slots in the semi-finals. These semi-finals will feature Hansi Gold Community School, Amazing Grace School, Divine Mission Academy, The Ridge School, Promise International School, Mata Devi Basic School, Martyrs of Uganda Preparatory School, St. Louis Jubilee, and defending champions Mana International School. Quizmaster Erastus Asare Donko believes the contest has been fantastic.
So
he calls on public schools to join the contest going forward.
We've moved to the quarter-final stages, and now we are ending the quarter-final stage, and we have 8 schools qualifying to the semi-finals of the Love FM Primary Schools Quiz 2023. I must say that we've seen some surprise performances from some of the schools coming from the hinterlands. And some of the so-called big schools have been taken over as well. It has been quite a great performance from the children. Going forward, I don't know, but this is a call and a challenge to the public schools as well. I know that they are governed and supervised by government, the Ghana Education Service and all that. We would like to partner all of them.
He encouraged qualified schools to be confident as they move to the next stage of the contest.
Surprise me. I'm your uncle. Surprise me this time around. Let's see which schools, with 3 schools, will compete strongly and enter into the finals. That's what I wait to see, and it will gladden my heart to know that the children really came forward, they learned, and they were able to supersede everything.
Pupils of Mata Devi Busy School and Matters of Uganda Preparatory School shared their experiences throughout previous contests and the expectations ahead of the semi-finals.
Really good, and I loved how we were leading, and also how we emerged the winners of this contest.
Our victory was by grace, and our efforts were so much that by the grace of God we won.
It feels very nice, like I'm very excited. It's very nice. I guess we'll take the cup on the finals.
It feels cool to be winners. It was difficult in the first round, but in the other rounds, we powered and we became first, and we led, and we won the quarterfinals, contest 8. So I feel happy. I know we will take the trophy home.
Patrons of some qualified schools are optimistic of winning the 4th edition of the primary school quiz.
How are you taking this victory?
Well, it wasn't too much of a difficult contest, though some of the questions were not expected. But I think for us, our principle has always been one contest at a time. So we prepare for each contest as and when each round or each level of the contest, we come in with different approach, different strategy.
The kids, they did their best. You should expect better from us because we have a precedence here. The maiden edition, which was held for schools, we won it. And then as we've been able to go through this hurdle, we are sure the semi-final is also a done deal for us.
So on April 3rd, we begin the semi-finals of the Love FM Primary School Quiz, as 9 schools will be featured in the contest. 3 schools will proceed to the final stage. Which school will win the 4th edition of the Love FM Primary School Quiz? For Joy News, my name is Nana Boache Dankwayadom.
Now, you don't want to miss that competition on April 3. Now, moving on, sources say a human turned into a rock fearing defeat at the hands of his enemies. That's the story of Boneri, a warlord whose enemies decided to inflict wounds on a rock shaped like a human they were pursuing. The rock has since then had blood oozing from its sides, hence the name, the Bleeding Rock. Rafik Salam.
Paralaghe is a predominant Lobian farming settlement located in the southwestern end of the West district of the Upper West region. Located a couple of kilometers from the community is Bonare, named after an ancient warrior who was leading his people in an ethnic war and upon smelling defeat fell into a rock. His clansmen returned to the rock and saw several beads of blood ooze from the rock as a result of the machete wounds inflicted on the rock, suspected to be a human by his enemies. On our Ghana Man series today, we explore the history behind the 17th century Bonare, now rechristened Bleeding Rock. Unknown to us about the location and mileage of Bonare, we set off on our case footage, knowing too well that we'll reach there in no time. We reach the outskirts of the community, and it's the farthest our car could go because of the deplorable nature of the road. We alighted, pack off all gadgets, walk across the dried up valley, and bump into a tricyclist who we begged to send us to the area. He agreed to take us for free, but later changed his mind and asked for 30 Ghana cedis. The road to Bonere, where the Bleeding Heart Rock is located, is not for the faint-hearted. The road is deplorable, bumpy. Actually, it's not really in good shape because there are a lot of farming activities taking place here. Coupled with that, a lot of illegal miners who have dug a lot of several pits, and so one has to meander your way through to get in there. And so we are on a tricycle, on the bucket of it, heading to Bonere. We were led to Bonare by one of the elders of the Tindambes, Mbasiri Tubiri Kumpalamana. We handed him 1 Ghana cedis for him to seek permission for us from Bonare before we kickstart our work. Standing from afar, you see a human-like creature. Getting closer, you see the mystery surrounding it. Private Tour Guard Abdulaziz Belpo took us through the history of the human-like shaped rock.
This is what is referred to as the Bleeding Rock.
History has it that an ancient warrior by name Bunere, some time back there was a tribal war, and he was leading his people, and he got to a point and realized that the raiders or the enemy was closing up on him and his group. So what he did was that he asked his followers to go to one direction while he diverts the attention of the raiders. And he himself, Bunere, was a very spiritual person, very powerful. He believed he could manifest into various objects and later turn back into human. So he asked his followers to go one direction whilst he diverted the attention of the enemy. He did exactly that, and whilst the enemy closed up on him, at a point he turned himself into this rock to disguise himself from the enemy or the raiders. Unfortunately, the raiders, we are told, traced his footsteps to this very rock, and the footsteps ended at exactly where the rock is. And as you can see, the rock is shaped in some form of a human or an old person with a hunch. I'm told that one of the raiders suspected this was a human being that turned to the rock, because one, that was where the footsteps ended, and the rock kind of looked like a human being. So it was advised that, well, if it is a human, they should inflict cuts or wounds on the rock. What that means is that once you inflict cuts or wounds into the rock, the spirit will be trapped inside. The spirit will not be able to come in or go out of the object. So these cuts were said to be inflicted with an axe. And because it was a human being that turned into a rock, he started bleeding. And as you see, depending on what time you come here, you either see fresh or dried blood. This is dried, yeah, but dripping from the cuts inflicted by the axe.
So this blood that you are talking about, it never get dried?
Well, at any point in time you come here, you definitely see blood, either fresh or dried. Today, unfortunately, the blood is dried. But if you look at the other side, this way, you realize that these are even older blood stains. Maybe probably from last year or something. Very older blood stains. When I visited here last year, these bloods were fresh, dripping from the top. So at any point in time you come, you see either fresh or dry blood, but you see the marks.
It is the belief of the people that Bunere was their forefather who turned into the rock and has always come around to pray and offer sacrifices for good fortune. The evidence are these empty beer and aquatic bottles thrown all over around it.
The indigenes believe that this stone here is or was their ancestor who turned himself into a stone to protect or to defend the entire community. So from time to time, they come to pray here, they come to offer sacrifices here, and to seek goodwill and good fortune. For example, those who farm around, before the farming season, they come here to offer sacrifices, fowls, drinks, and other things, even money, so they can have a good yield. Others that do hunting, once they get here during hunting expedition, they offer sacrifices to the stone that they call their ancestor, hoping to get a good harvest. So these bottles you see here contain alcohol, mostly brought in by people who come to offer sacrifices. And at certain times, some people also come here to make demands or wishes. And once those wishes or demands are fulfilled, they also come to fulfill their pledges. So in some cases, they come with cash, they come with animals, and they always come with drinks.
As his purpose says, one major challenge faced is the deplorable nature of the road, and if fixed, will improve and attract sea of tourists here.
The road network connecting from Busa to Kpaglaghe, connecting from Kpaglaghe to this site, is of more trouble, especially during the rainy season. It is not just accessible at all. So I think that if the road network can be improved, this particular attraction will attract a lot of people.
Apa was regional director of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Moses Indewuni Indeburi, agreed hook, line, and sinker with him.
There is actually the need for us to have accessibility to the tourist sites. Not only this site, but other adjoining attractions within this community. When we are able to get an accessible road to this place, we will actually open up the place for more tourists to come and then visit. And of course, this we recommend adventure tourists to come around those that will be able to get means to can equally patronize this particular place.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Paralagahe.
There now we'll break. We'll be back with more in business.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has said the introduction of the electronic platform for filing of taxes will help the Ghana Revenue Authority rake in some more revenue. The Vice President was speaking at the launch of the electronic tax clearance certificate and tax filing platform here in Accra. Here's more in this report.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has launched an electronic tax compliance certificate, tax compliance short code, and online filing to make the filing of taxes easy and convenient. Speaking at the launch, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stated that the electronic platform will bring about transparency in the collection of value-added tax and is expected to contribute to an increase in the country's revenue.
The introduction of the innovative electronic VAT platform, the eVAT, has also signaled the beginning of an era of transparency and accountability in VAT. Over the years, the contribution of VAT to government revenue has gradually declined, and government had to find ways to remedy this situation. By the end of 2023, GRA will have onboarded about 600 taxpayers, with an additional 1,000 businesses joining the platform by the close of the year. As we buy from VAT-registered businesses, let us demand for VAT invoices and help build a better Ghana in the process. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to all of these initiatives, the GRA is also outdooring a short code today, which is a diagnostic tool that will help you check on your tax status with the click of a button. So the *880 hash that Reverend Amishadai was able to get us, *880 hash short code, has been designed to quickly scan your tax records and provide you with a feedback on your status as a taxpayer.
Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, urged taxpayers to endeavor to be tax compliant.
The second one is electronic filing, which provides a platform for taxpayers to file their returns seamlessly and conveniently. All returns can be filed on the taxpayers portal, which allows taxpayers to file their tax returns online using either a smartphone, a computer, or a tablet. The obligation on the part of every taxpayer is to file this return and to file it electronically. And in fact, since we started this, we have now insisted that all light taxpayers must file electronically. But we are also encouraging all of us, individuals, to also file electronically.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta added that the new platform should be able to help the country to meet its tax to GDP ratio target.
The GRA has made some significant strides over the years. Between 2017 and 2021, for instance, revenue collection increased by 2.5 times, rising from 39 billion to 70.9 billion, of a compound average growth rate of 16%. And we really must applaud the GRA for their commitment and earnest effort. However, we are still a long way from where we should be, because this still represents only 13% of tax to GDP ratio compared to the target of 18 to 20% that we have set ourselves. So as part of the post-COVID program for economic growth, we have made clear our intention to grow our tax to GDP from around the 13% to 18 to 20% over the immediate to near term. With an estimated GDP as an example of, say, 800 billion Ghana cedis, this should result at 20% in 160 billion Ghana cedis for us.
And that's it for Business. News Desk returns after this break.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Desk with me, Maame Thompson. It's time for Tech Talk with Spiky, who's here with me in the studio right now. Spiky, what's the latest in tech?
Well, a lot happening in tech, and I'm sure a lot of people have been hearing about ChatGPT in the last few days. And Goldman Sachs has come out with a report that says about 300 million jobs could be affected by the latest wave of AI, which includes ChatGPT, Mid-Journey, Stable Diffusion. All those AI tools are about to disrupt, and a lot of jobs are going to be affected because of automation.
Incredible invention yet, but what exactly does it do for those who haven't heard about it?
So, for instance, depending on which platform it's you're using it for, let's focus on one which is popular now, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a language processing model that you can talk to. When I say talk, you can ask it any question, and it would answer you naturally, in natural language. So it doesn't sound like a robot. So you could ask it today that, you want an opener for News Desk, and ChatGPT will suggest, a good opener.
Oh, really?
Yes. But it's as good as what you ask it. So if you're very direct and very definitive in the questions you're asking it, your answers will be very detailed and very good enough. But it's not 100%. But that's not to say that it's not helping in certain industries. So there are other tools like Mid-Journey and Stable Diffusion, as I mentioned. Mid-Journey helps you create art or pictures by prompts. So you just have to type in what you want to see, and it will create that for you. And quite recently, I was explaining it to someone, and I typed into it that I wanted a photo of a Ghanaian woman wearing kente, standing by a taxi and smiling.
Are you serious?
And it actually generated that exact image, which I showed to the person. So imagine,
but that can be done by Google, right?
Google will find you a picture that exists, a picture that somebody took. But it will not find you, it will not create that image for you. But this was created. This is not a person that exists. This is a person that AI created. So this photo doesn't exist anywhere on the
I give specific images. So does it just pick those images from somewhere and then drapes them in kente?
Well, it looks for somebody wearing kente in a certain pose, takes maybe somebody's
so
arm,
just provides a taxi and then dump the person there.
Not only that, does pieces, so it doesn't look like
What if it's my image and I have an issue with it?
Recognize this because it's not that person's face. If you look very closely, you notice that it's even made some mistakes with the eyes.
It looks like somebody I might know.
Exactly. Well, everybody looks like somebody everybody knows. So
anyway,
with this, the job of a stock photographer may be at risk. Because I'm looking for photos.
I was actually coming to that. I mean, what kind of jobs could be lost during this
So stock photographers, landscape photographers, maybe somebody, because I can just type a prompt into an AI and it will generate a landscape.
Can I lose my job?
Well, we're getting there because there's an AI now that I can take
that I don't want
picture.
To hear because
I can take your picture and then just speak, and it would use your face and start making the movements.
That's dangerous
and everything.
And that brings me to So that brings me to the question about legalities and the issues people may raise with it. Are they experiencing that?
Yes. So it's in full force now. We've got a lot of questions being asked. A lot of people trying to find out how it's going to be regulated because there's copyright issues. It's not creating from scratch. It's borrowing from all over the internet and merging to create something. So you definitely find traces of somebody's original content in there. So there's a discussion about copyright, and even it's gone so far as that someone like Elon Musk and certain tech leaders have said, hey, you guys need to slow down on AI. And there's actually a petition ongoing that they're asking people to sign for further research on AI to be slowed down, because apparently it's quite risky and it's going to blow
into
out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's investing in that. We've seen Google come out with their own chatbot to compete with ChatGPT. It's called Bard. I signed up and I tried testing it today, and it actually gave me something more accurate than ChatGPT gave me. So there's that, worry that there's competition, there's worry that this competition could force people to take certain measures that may not be good for the people.
Right.
Because today also I saw in the news that people have found a way to circumvent the safety features of these chat bots to let them do things that under normal circumstances they're not supposed to be able to do.
And even people become more lazy because they will not really think on their
lazy
feet.
Part, yeah. I think that with the advent of every new technology, it makes us as humans lazier because it's supposed to make work easy, more efficient, and less risky.
Wow.
I mean, if I had something that could chop vegetables for me, why would I risk my fingers and chop vegetables? You know what I mean?
Can you do other things as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there that are being done. Why are you not holding a piece of paper? You're holding a tablet.
Right,
It's
okay.
not making your work easy.
Thank you, Spiky, for that. And that's an interesting edition of Tech Talk with Spiky. And that's it for this edition of News Desk. I'm Maame Thompson. Thanks for your company.